Hey there, this is Stefan Marsh, and we're at my mastering studio here, Marsh Mastering, and we're having a tech day. Doing some maintenance. We're pulling out gear that needs routine stuff and needs repair, and one of the things we're going to do today is recap a power supply for a GML 9500. It's a pretty simple process, so we thought this would be a great one to just do a quick video on. If you've never recapped a power supply, it may seem daunting. It really is a pretty straightforward process, and the way that the GML is put together, it's designed to be really, really serviceable. Not that they almost ever need service, frankly, but the reality is this unit has been in continuous service for almost 25 years now, and these power supplies have almost never been turned off in that time. So it's time for a fresh set of supply caps. It's good maintenance, and it's just not going to hurt the unit. So we're going to do this one. The 9500 has a pair of these GML supplies. This is the 8355. If you have a non-mastering version of the CQ, that uses just one of these, but it's the same supply. The GML Mic Pre, the 8202 and the 8204, I think are the numbers. They both use the same supply as well. But this is going to be a similar topology to their other supplies. And the theory is going to be pretty similar. So let's get started. This supply, we just literally pulled it off the floor. We pulled it last night, so the caps have had plenty of time to drain, so there's not going to be live voltage in this unit at this point. Regardless, we're going to pop the fuse out just in case something does happen. This fuse is right here. If for some reason there is any voltage and it were to discharge, you may pop that fuse. So save yourself the 79 cents and pull it now. So pull that, set it aside. We're going to spin this unit around. And on the back, you can kind of forensically see what's going on this unit here. I'll tip it the light a little better. On the bottom of most power supplies, you're going to see this kind of screw pattern. It's because this is your transformer, your power transformer. These are going to be your big supply caps. These are the clamps that hold it in. So you can sort of navigate to where you're going to need to attack based on what you see on this unit. It's all on the bottom. So we're going to grab this. This is just a hex drive, a metric hex drive. This one is 2 millimeters, I think. Pull these 4 screws out. This is the boring part. So these 4 come out, and the way this unit just kind of slides out, it's going to have some weight because it's got a big tranny and a couple heavy caps in it. And these are the caps. We did the other half of this one earlier, so these are the original caps that came out. Again, we'll test these afterwards and see where they're at, if we want to keep them or not. But this unit was functioning just fine. This is really one of those things where when you're trying to keep everything at 99.9% or 100%, you kind of tend to do this stuff preventively. These are the replacement caps. It's a different brand, but the same exact size and value as the original caps. And these were supplied by GML. So this is their factory replacement cap. So here you have your transformer, you have your caps. And there's a little bit of control board, but this is your basic sort of garden variety power supply. We're just going to start by unscrewing these terminals. It's one of the reasons that this particular job is a really great one for a video, is because the caps are screwing. So this is solder free, and we like that. I don't hate solder free. So just pull these guys, set them aside. There's really once the caps have discharged, there's really no rhyme or reason as to why you would go to one particular terminal or the other. Just tear into it. But you definitely want to make sure you definitely obviously unplug the unit first. If I didn't say that before, that should be blatantly obvious. You never want to work on this thing with live voltage going, nor would I advocate for it. And if for any reason when you're doing something like this, you get to a point where you're like, I don't know, I'm worried, stop and get somebody that has done it before to come help you. So I'm going to pull these wires back. Pull that. Be careful. The center wire on this unit, this is a T, and it's tapped directly to it's soldered directly to the tap of the transformer. So you want to be careful not to break that off, or your power supply recap just got a lot more expensive. As it stands, the caps are about 18 bucks a piece. So you're looking at a $30 preventive maintenance. And you can see these guys have seen some action. They've got a little powdering on them. Obviously, you're not going to judge a cap by its looks all the time, but you can sort of tell when they start to get a little bulgy. And like I said, this unit it's not been off for about 25 years, so it's time. You want to observe polarity on these electrolytic caps. Which is what these guys are, electrolytic caps. They always have a polarity, plus and minus. You see this one's marked with plus and minus. There's also a dot, which helps orient you as well. So I'm just going to replace these in exactly the same fashion as they came out. I'm going to leave these guys loose for the time being because I might need a little tip or wiggle room on these guys. And once I have these tightened up, then I'll go ahead and just snug those up. These guys, you don't need them to be super tight, but you also don't want them vibrating out. Now that these are all solid in there, we'll go through and we'll tighten up our mounts. This is just a screw in a little nut, so you just hold the nut with your finger. And what I do is I actually look at the space between the bracket and the cap. And I usually will lift it off so it's not sitting on the back. I will actually lift it off so there's a little bit of an air gap beneath it. And then just snug it up so it's not wiggling, it's not moving around. And again, repeat. That's it. That's the recap. We're going to now very gently and carefully slide this back into the unit. Flip it up on its face. Pop the screws back in. Flip it back over. Take your fuse. This one uses a 1 amp slow blow. If you ever do pop the fuse, you can always get it. Put it in the right way. Helps. You can always swap it out. That's that. The other thing I'll do is right now, it's just quick. These are dual power supplies, like so many power supplies these days. After you've been working on it, make sure for some reason that this thing didn't get swapped or popped around. Some of these, sometimes they can get loose. It does not take a lot to move these. So you always want to just give a quick double check, make sure you're on the right power voltage. That's it. We're going to put this thing back into service, and it's probably going to give us another 25 years of amazing GML performance that we've come to know and love. But I just wanted to show you, a lot of these things, like, it's pretty simple. Power supplies are some of the simplest things if you're recapping, and they're also one of the first things you want to look at when you're starting to have problems with your gear. As Dave Smith of Sony fame famously said, he said, God is in the power supply, and I think that's true. So it's really easy to make sure that you keep God in good slippers. So have fun. Stefan Marsh from Marsh Mastering. Be good, be safe, don't electrocute yourself, and maybe we'll do another one of these soon. Take care.